Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for joining and watching the videos today. I have several little things that I want to talk about that might seem unrelated, but I will, or hopefully will, bring them all together towards the end of the video. And I'm hoping that I can get it all done in one video. So we'll see. This may end up being a few different videos. It's about, of course, what's going on, and maybe some of you are getting tired of that. I do still throw out homesteading specific videos and, herbal videos, things like that. I'm doing more of the herbal stuff over on Patreon, and not necessarily to keep it, something on me, sorry, I could see it in the camera. Not necessarily keep it from the masses of my YouTube listeners, but because YouTube doesn't like natural healing herbal type videos. They've banned several of my videos, even though I never made any claims of healing or treatment or anything, and put disclaimers on every one of them. And most of them, they limit them so that not very many people see them. So I've been putting a lot of that stuff, going to be doing more of it over on Patreon, but I still do it. The point is things are really crazy right now in the world, and I think that we are on the edge of our society, our world, making a change. That basically how things have been for the last century or just your lifetime is probably never again going to happen. And because of that, and because of some of the very nefarious things that I truly believe are coming down the pike, we do need to be talking about this pretty regularly. I did happen to pick a spot that the mosquitoes are swarming. Anyways, so I want to start off with politics, and I don't talk specifically about the president or other candidates too much, but this one I am. And whether you like it or not, I am not completely sold out on believing that the president's intentions are completely pure and just, and that he's not part of this global system. There are some things that he's done that's been very good and that I agree with, but there's a lot of other things that I don't agree with. And one of the things that he's been pushing recently, or claiming that's going to happen, that kind of is a red flag for me, is his push to have this vaccine for this coronavirus and have it so quickly. Anyone that knows anything about vaccines and medicine and stuff knows that if supposedly the truth is that this virus came into existence only a few months ago and they already have a vaccine ready for market, then it's probably not going to be anything that I want to put in my body. Not that I put really vaccines in my body anyways, but certainly not this one. And I've looked at like polls and stuff, and the vast majority of the Americans, including his supporters, don't want it right now. They believe it's way too early to be pushing a vaccine. So anyways, maybe I'm wrong about him. I don't know. There's just something. And part of the problem is that a lot of the supporters, and especially this QAnon, they push this narrative that to just trust the plan, to just trust that the president and the people that are working with him have a plan and that they got it all taken care of. In other words, don't do anything, don't worry about, anything that's going on, don't become active in any way whatsoever, just sit back and relax and do nothing because we got this. And that right there is enough for a red flag to worry me. So, even if you believe that the president, and even if it's true that he has all good intentions, if he does get reelected, he's only got 4 more years. And the odds are that if he gets reelected, that in 4 years we'll probably have a Democrat. That's just the way the cycle goes. And the point to that is, the Democrats have basically shown us their cards. The left, let's just not say the Democrats, the left, the far left, has the things that all of us have known for years. But there's not been a whole lot of proof, in-your-face proof, like, where it's tangible. it's now tangible. The stuff that they're saying, the stuff that they want to do, that they're promising, that they're talking about, they have basically shown us their cards. And so even if the president gets reelected and truly does a lot of good stuff, in 4 more years, we're most likely going to have to deal with them. And so whatever they're saying they want to do now, if they can't do right now, then they'll start doing it in 4 more years. So at the very least, the president getting reelected could only postpone their agenda or drag it out for another 4 more years. So that's one thing to think about. Secondly, those mosquitoes are getting bad. You can even see them on the camera lens there. Secondly, something else to think about is with all this stuff of mail-in ballots, and the Democrats aren't wanting debates, and this constant talk about they believe there's going to be voter fraud, really on both sides, and that just be ready for the fact that, for in case that it may take weeks or even months to figure out who won the election. I mean, that's been another narrative that's been out on the media, the talking heads. The politicians really on both sides are saying that. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg had been talking about, did a little interview saying that Facebook is preparing that after the election, a campaign to try to calm people, keep people calm, because they believe it's going to take weeks or maybe months to determine the outcome of the election. So whether it's just happens to happen that way, or it's planned that way, something to think about that could create a constitutional situation or dilemma is that if it's not decided by January 21st, there is a belief, according to what the Constitution and how it reads, that Nancy Pelosi could become president, at least for a time until they've determined who the president actually is. So there's a lot of little things going on there. And then, of course, there's all this stuff that's happening now. Virus, riots, social injustice, and now half of the country is up in flames and going up in smoke. And more. I mean, it's just stuff all the time. Man, sorry, I feel like I've got fleas and it's these mosquitoes that are getting me. It's all happening, and I've said this before on here, to be careful about falling too deeply into all the stuff that's going on. And I believe the stuff that's going on, even if it's orchestrated, and I believe a lot of it is, and it's orchestrated for a minor purpose, the riots are for a purpose, but then there's this overarching plan. And the overarching plan is, I believe, a more globalist change. And one of the things that we haven't talked about on here much, and I know that many of you have already on to this stuff. You're already aware of it because you comment, you send me emails, or you comment. It's something that I have been also, and I've just been trying to figure out if it's something I want to touch on the show or not. And I think it is important. Is this agenda that I believe is going on behind closed doors to advance technology to a point that what we know as freedom really no longer exists. And I think this pandemic or plandemic is really a big catalyst for that. This idea of these masks that are really dehumanizing people, this vaccine that's become rapidly available, that they've openly admitted that they're using nanotechnology to develop this vaccine, and they've also openly admitted that this vaccine will be able to go in and turn on and off certain markers in your genome, basically changing your DNA. I mean, it's really what this has the capability of doing. Then it goes even beyond that. The technology that many people think is just future stuff, that they're working on this technology. It's science fiction, but it actually does exist. For instance, being able to use implanted artificial intelligence into the human brain to be able to, assist the human brain. This is something that, I know it sounds pretty far-fetched. About a year ago, I read an article, and I don't think I ever mentioned it on this channel. Maybe I did. I'd have to go back and check. But I read an article talking about how that they have basically cracked the code of being able to interface with the human brain. And some of the technologies that they were looking at was using artificial intelligence and being able to connect to the human brain so that not just through glasses, they have these virtual reality glasses, but to basically do away with the virtual reality glasses, and now it's able to actually connect to your optic nerve system so that what you think you're seeing is a display that is being produced by this computer image. And what the thing that they were worrying is that it would alter human reality so much that they would not be able to determine what was real and what was computer generated. This is stuff like out of the Matrix. If any of you have ever watched the Matrix movie, at least the first one, what was it, 15 years ago or something? I don't know, maybe it's 20 years ago now. We're not talking like what ifs or maybes or conspiracy theory. This is like real. This is stuff that they're really doing. The ability to alter our thinking through this artificial intelligence, and basically they're selling it as it's able to help our thinking. It's able to assist us. So, instead of getting on your phone and Googling something, it will be able to assist us, and it will also be able to do the mundane parts of your brain. So things like, say, just breathing. You don't think about breathing. Your brain is telling your body to breathe, but you're not consciously thinking that. The artificial intelligence could take over and do that, freeing up certain parts of your brain for maybe higher thinking. That's why there's been a really big push, I believe, amongst the young people to push all this advanced technology on them. Have you ever noticed that many children can navigate this technology better than someone like myself or my parents' generation? They're doing this so that it's much easier for them to accept, so that when they start unveiling this type of stuff and rolling it out, this younger generation, the teenagers and even up to 20 or so years old, they're going to accept that. It's going to be okay. They're going to be like, oh, cool. It's better than a new iPhone. This is really cool technology. Whereas people like you and I are going to be a little bit more standoffish. And then people in our parents' generation and stuff, they're going to be like, what in the world are they talking about? They may not even understand it because it's so advanced. This is really part of a globalist agenda. And I believe in my heart that what we're seeing play out in the world today, between this election, the virus, the riots, and maybe even all the commotion and confusion and distraction and fear of, the wildfires and things like that, and the shortages are leading us down that road, because things like shortages, especially food, technology could save that, could fix that for us, right? Traditional farming and traditional ways of producing food are very dangerous, and they're fragile. Weather could cause it to collapse, or this pandemic. Look what the pandemic's done to our food system. Why, if we just turned it over to computers and let them, control our food system and manipulate it and create it and design it, because the computers are actually manufacturing food and the artificial intelligence is in charge of that, well then that fixes our food problem, right? They're talking already that in the next 10 to 20 years, not including natural disasters or weather-related incidents, just the fact that the planet's population is increasing so rapidly that we will get to a point that it'll be difficult to produce enough food for this planet, or so they say. And that's when this technology rolls in. And if you look at every area, really, of problem, they have a fix for it when it comes to technology. And it's something I could really probably go into a lot more. I'm not the most knowledgeable person on this subject, but it's definitely something I try to stay up on top of, because this system where it's, controlling the financial systems, controlling the food system, controlling the health. That's a real big one right now. It's all coming together. This thing of defund the police, and that police can't be trusted, and that the police are just not good. There's already talks about unveiling basically Robocop, which is crazy, because most of us grew up watching movies like Robocop and Terminator, and it's like, we know how that turns out, guys. Okay? But yet they are seriously talking about the possibility, because they say the technology is there, to use artificial intelligent robots to police the streets. That way, they're totally fair. They're able to get through a situation maybe without just shooting someone, because they're able to think faster and to react faster and to subdue a subject better, because they'll be stronger, and all these different. They'll be more fair. They won't have any racial bias to them. They'll be able to easily be controlled. You don't have these rogue police officers. The military admitted, I believe it was a year or 2 years ago, that they already have the technology to use AI robot soldiers in the field. There was an article, an interview with one of the generals over that division, and he said, we basically already have the technology, and the only reason we're not using it is because we feel that the people that we serve, the American people, are just not ready yet to start seeing AI robots in the military. But he says it's there, and they will be slowly going that way. This is scary stuff, folks. The ability to control mass communications, the amount of satellites that are in the sky. It's mind blowing if you really get into this. And the more I start learning about this, and we're not talking about getting on some kooky conspiracy theory website. We're talking about Google's websites and Bill Gates and TED Talks and these scientific journals and NASA and things like that are talking about what they're doing right now, what they're planning on using that technology for. It's a little terrifying. So, with all the stuff that's going on that we certainly should be aware of, I believe a big part of their agenda is to push towards that. Because I believe in their minds that is the way to create this perfect utopia where they can better control us. So we definitely need to be aware of that. Certainly, be aware of the stuff that's happening currently, but start being aware of the fact of what that's happening currently, where it's going to lead us, what road it's going to lead us. And honestly, I don't think it matters who gets to be president. I think that agenda is going to happen regardless who wins in November. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's certainly an opinion of mine. So that's just, I wanted to talk about this, and maybe if you guys give me some feedback. I know this may seem a little crazy for some of you. Maybe not everyone is up to speed on this kind of stuff. Let me know what you think. I know it's not all about living out in the woods like I talk about sometimes, but it's certainly something we should talk about. Before I get off of here, for those of you that stuck around long enough to the end of the video, I am considering changing things up, and I want to get your feedback. The way I do it right now, I don't do a whole lot of advertising for products. Once in a while, I mention something you can go check out. Because occasionally I get people telling me, hey, we like it that you don't push products, right? We like it that you don't push products, and that's one of the reasons why we watch you. Well, I don't push products, but instead, YouTube runs the little ad at the front of the video. So my options are to either run the little ad at the front of the video that I have no control what they show, so you may see something you totally don't want to see or don't agree with, or remove those ads altogether and show a 30-second or so ad that I make about a product that I vet and approve of. You don't have to buy it. I'm not going to cram it down your throat, but that's kind of my options. And you could say, well, you don't have to do anything. Running a website and doing this stuff does cost a little bit. And I'm trying to, I break even maybe. the amount of advertising dollars I get kind of helps me break even for the expense of running the website, and the few times, I just purchased a mic, which is a piece of junk. I'm gonna have to buy another one because it's anyways. But I want to get your feedback. Which would you rather see? Ads that I have no control of what's put on there, that YouTube is getting the vast majority of the money, or create 30-second little commercial spots of products that I kind of vet and say, hey, this is something that I've checked out, it's really good, if you buy it, I get 10% of the whatever, or whatever it is. Let me know what you think about that. I'm going to talk about it again in a few videos over the next few days and because I'm trying to rework it. I don't think it's necessarily going to make me more money. I just would rather have better control over what kind of advertising is done on my content. Because at this point I have no control whatsoever. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I will get some feedback on this, and also this crazy AI globalist takeover of the human body. I think that's really part of what they're doing. Let me also know what you think on that, and maybe we can talk about it some more and dig a little deeper. I think it's a very interesting subject, at the least it is. All right. I'm going to get out of these mosquitoes because I picked the wrong spot today. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.